South Africa, the Rainbow Nation, a country forged from a history of deep division and painful segregation. We emerged from the darkness of apartheid with a promise of equality, a dream of a society where everyone could share in the nation's wealth. But that dream, my friends, remains just out of reach. Why? Because the issue of land, the very soil beneath our feet, remains a source of deep-seated inequality. The legacy of apartheid is starkly etched onto the landscape of South Africa. Vast tracts of fertile land are still in the hands of a minority, a stark reminder of the forced removals and dispossession that defined the apartheid era. This inequality, my friends, is not just a matter of history. It's a present-day reality that fuels poverty, unemployment, and resentment. For many young South Africans, the promise of a rainbow nation feels hollow. They see the vast economic disparities. They feel the sting of limited opportunities. And they are demanding change. What's fascinating is that this demand for change transcends racial lines. A growing number of young white South Africans are starting to question the status quo. They are lending their voices and their support to a movement that seeks to redress the injustices of the past, the land redistribution movement. Now, some might call it radical, some might call it controversial, but for many young white South Africans, supporting land redistribution is simply about righting a historical wrong. It's about acknowledging that the land on which their privilege is built was acquired through the systematic dispossession of black South Africans. It's about understanding that true reconciliation cannot occur without restitution. These young people see the deep wounds that apartheid inflicted on the social fabric of South Africa. They understand that the economic disparities we see today are a direct result of the land dispossession that took place under apartheid, and they believe that a fairer, more equitable society can only be built on a foundation of justice. For them, it's not about punishing anyone for the sins of the past. It's about creating a future where everyone has an equal opportunity to thrive. And that, my friends, starts with addressing the issue of land ownership. This isn't about revenge, it's about reconciliation. It's about saying, we see the injustices of the past, we acknowledge the pain that was caused, and we're committed to building a different kind of future together. This brings us to the economic freedom fighters, the EFF, and their charismatic leader, Julius Malema. Love him or hate him, you cannot deny that Malema has his finger on the pulse of young South Africa. He speaks their language, he understands their frustrations, and he's offering them something that the ANC, for all its history and struggle credentials, seems unable to provide: hope. The EFF's message is simple, direct, and uncompromising: economic freedom in our lifetime. They're not afraid to challenge the status quo, they're not afraid to shake things up, and that resonates with a generation that's tired of empty promises and incremental change. But it's not just about rhetoric. The EFF's radical approach to land reform, their call for expropriation without compensation, has struck a chord with those who believe that drastic measures are needed to address the deep-seated inequalities in South African society. They see the EFF as a party that's willing to take on the vested interests, a party that's not afraid to fight for the economic liberation of all South Africans. So, what does the future hold for land reform in South Africa? It's a question without an easy answer. The road ahead will undoubtedly be challenging, marked by debate, negotiation, and compromise. But one thing is certain, the issue of land will continue to be a defining issue for South Africa for generations to come. The growing support for land redistribution among young white South Africans is a sign of the times. It's a sign that the old ways of thinking are being challenged. It's a sign that a new generation is coming of age, a generation that's committed to building a more just and equitable South Africa. And who knows, maybe, just maybe, this generation will be the one to finally heal the divisions of the past and realize the true promise of the Rainbow Nation.